There were several instances where I had to go DoorDash the night before rent was due just to make sure that I was able to pay that. I started flipping sports cards, started buying things on eBay, flipping them, trying to make money that way. And one of my buddies introduced sports betting to me.
Let's bet on this.
I feel like a lot of people look at sports betting as that kind of get rich quick kind of thing. You know, everyone wants to hit that lotto parlay. Take a step back and realize that sports betting can actually be more of an investment. I think that the main thing that this industry, if you want to call it, has taught me is that is everything.
What's up, y'all? You've got Ryan, one of the founders and the CEO of DubClub. I'm joined on the DubClub CEO Corner podcast in person, San Francisco office with Grayson from Trident DFS, the CEO and founder of Trident DFS. Grayson, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
Doing well. It's fun to have you out here. I love to hear that you got to experience the beautiful no roof or no blockage in the roof of a Tesla, and got the beautiful sun in California today. You joined on a great day.
Yeah, man. Beautiful weather out here. Really cool seeing all of the houses and buildings on the hillside. Very different from where I come from in Florida. So
yeah. Tell folks. I mean, we'll jump straight in. To context, I mean, like we're gonna talk about who you are as a person really quickly, but backing up just so people have a sense of like why you're an interesting person to listen to. You've built a business on DubClub that is now a member of the 250K earnings club. So that means you made hundreds of thousands of dollars from people paying you for your advice. We're gonna get into that and more. What you did before DubClub, why you wanted to build your business on DubClub, how it's been to be on DubClub, and generally just getting into the tactics of how you go about running your business on a day-to-day basis, why people should subscribe to you. We're going to get into all that. But there was a Grayson before the Trident DFS.
There was.
And we're going to get into that. Talk about where you're from and a little bit about, the life that you live where you're from and what you've seen here in California, and just kind of bring us back down to the reality of you as a person.
Yeah, so I come from Jacksonville, Florida, born and raised there. Pretty much grew up, always involved with sports. Started racing BMX when I was 4, and then after BMX, moved into football.
BMX racer, all right.
Yeah,
at 4, dude. Your parents let you do that? That's incredible.
Well, my dad was a racer, and then got me ride my bike without training wheels when I was 2, and then got me out there on the track when I was 4 and started
racing. You
like
taking risks early on.
I guess so.
Yeah,
I guess that's sort of just been always just part of who I am. So
that's incredible.
But yeah, then I started playing football, and that was really just
How old were you when you started playing football?
Maybe 9 or 10.
Wow, yeah. Was it Pop Warner, or what league were you in?
So my parents wanted me playing flag football.
Okay, non-contact.
Non-contact,
okay, yeah.
And then begged them to play once I got to middle school, which is when I started playing tackle.
Yeah.
And played in high school as well.
Love it.
So yeah, sports has always been a pretty big part of my life. Always been interested to watch sports as well. And yeah, I feel like that kind of just all funneled into where I am today. Super cool being able to do what I love. Just couldn't be happier.
Yeah. So when we talk about doing what you love, right? Like I always like to ask the question, what was life like for Grayson 4 years ago? Let's take that. It's COVID.
Oh, gosh.
What is life like for you during COVID? Because we're gonna get into what life is like now, and people can see behind me on this cabinet here that you've built a successful business and you're on the way to build an even more successful business in the future. But what was life like before all of this got started, before you joined DubClub, before you realized, hey, look, I can be an entrepreneur, giving people my advice for how to make better decisions betting on sports?
I don't think you could have picked a worse time to go back. So 4 years ago, I'm a college student. It's my freshman year at the University of South Florida down in Tampa. COVID's obviously happening, and all my classes are online. I kind of took the route of wanting to be independent and was going to pay my own rent, all through college. I told my parents, I got the money, I'll be fine.
Good for you.
All my life, I've also been the entrepreneurial type. I actually only had one job, working for someone else. So that goes from everything from lawn mowing business. Also used to make the paracord bracelets out of my own garage, try to sell those. whole bunch of different entrepreneurial type
You
businesses.
just like selling things to people and having no one be your boss, basically.
Exactly. I think the
kind of sounds like a lot of people our
Yeah.
age now. I mean, our age. Gosh, you're 23?
23. Yep.
Okay, I'm 30. Our age, yeah, for sure. A lot of people our age, right? A lot of people of that generation that doesn't want to do anything other than work for themselves.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, it may just stem from just laziness or entitlement.
Yep.
But for me, it was really just I didn't want anybody being my boss. I wanted to be able to make my own money, make my own schedule as well. So, anyways, I get to college and kind of just wanted to make my own money. I started flipping sports cards, started buying things on eBay, flipping them, trying to make money that way.
So you'd buy the card on eBay. So you wanted to make money. So you get to college, you're recognizing, I can make money online. And you started buying sports cards on eBay and then selling them to other students or selling them online. How were you flipping them?
It was always, kind of the analysis behind how a player is doing, who they could become, buying the rookie cards essentially, and
That's
then flipping
awesome.
them. It was so cool.
Literally like playing with futures.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think during that
awesome.
time, especially, with COVID.
It's a fun story. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And everyone just kind of being, having to have that lifestyle online with COVID, not being able to go out.
Yep.
The sports card market was super cool at that point. It was doing very well. But, at that point, everything wasn't really going as planned. Paying for my own rent was a decision that I made that I probably regretted at some point.
Mm-hmm.
There were several instances where I had to go DoorDash the night before rent was due just to make sure that I was able to pay that. So
like you were driving for DoorDash.
Yep.
So you're in college. You want to pay your own rent because you wanted to be self-sustaining and you had a lot of pride in that. And so you were finding natural entrepreneurial paths to take, one of which was trading sports cards, the other of which you were driving for DoorDash if it was the last hour before rent was due. You're trying to get out there and make sure that you earn enough money to get that rent paid.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Okay, so yeah, very entrepreneurial.
Yeah, and I
didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm just recapping as we go because this is fascinating.
I think that at that point, especially when it's the last minute that I need rent, I would definitely say is my lowest point. And it's weird because at that point there wasn't really much of a realization as to like that would lead me to doing what I do now.
Yep.
But I was super thankful that I was able to meet up with a couple of the people in the Prize Picks Discord. So I share this love with others for sports. And when one of my buddies introduced sports betting to me, probably the worst time with my financial low. But introducing sports betting to me and me thinking like, oh, I have such a knowledge of sports. This should be easy for me to make money. And that led down just a route that wasn't the best because I would continue to lose money just betting with my gut, betting with the knowledge that I thought that I had. But meeting with those people in the Discord, the Prize Picks Discord, we had that same love of sports and slowly started to realize what would be the best way for us to make money and kind of look at sports betting in a different way. So I feel like a lot of people look at sports betting as that kind of get rich quick kind of thing. Everyone wants to hit that lotto parlay.
Yeah, everyone wants to get rich quick.
Of course. Yeah. And, you can't blame them. But when you take a step back and realize that sports betting can actually be more of an investment and something that's going to provide long term, it's very refreshing to then take that step back and realize when you look at things differently, how much that can change. So
yeah.
A couple of those people are actually on the DubClub platform as well. So super grateful
to
have
them. Give them
a shout out. CJ Betts and Ball Game Bets, two of my guys, Trey Ball Bets as well. So
yeah, they're awesome.
Those are all guys, they have their own followings on Twitter as well. But those are guys that I started off with and kind of begin to take those sports picks to Twitter because we thought, okay, we're making good picks. We're making money ourselves. Why not help out other people? Because I always feel like once you reach the point where you're a profitable bettor and you're already in that top 5% because of how many people lose money over time betting. Yep. And then from there, the pages started to slowly get a following. And then we all kind of reached the point where it's like, we can make money doing this. We can monetize this. And, ever since that moment, it's been great, and it's just been a super cool journey to look back on.
It's pretty incredible. So basically, if I'm recapping that, you met a couple guys in the Prize Picks Discord server, and then that turned into like a burgeoning sense of shared entrepreneurial interest, recognizing, oh, wait, we're actually like quite good at betting on sports, better than the average person. Therefore, the average person will probably listen to what we have to say because most people lose money betting on sports. I mean, that's not like an insult. I'm not trying to insult people that bet on sports. That's just a dead fact. It's an objective fact. I'm just stating a pure factual statement. That's important for people to recognize because there are folks like you who can consistently outperform. And that's just outperform the average.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't somebody want to get advice on how to outperform the average? That's what investing in the stock market in something that's going to outperform, you know, the S&P average, whatever it might be. Like, you want to be a part of that. You want to do better than average.
Right.
And so you guys in that entirety of the Prize Picks Discord server, getting to know each other, being in that community, you recognized, wait, we're better than the average. Let's start to put some more content out on social media, generate awareness around this. And you were doing that all from your dorm room?
Yeah.
So you founded a company. You founded Trident DFS, this sports betting consulting brand from your USF dorm room.
Yep.
That's incredible.
Yeah. It's very cool and kind of just puts into perspective everything that you can do just having internet, really. You know.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
100%. Internet, right technology partner, right time. I love it. I talked to someone earlier today just kind of recognizing, Curry the creator, recognizing the growth in the industry. People are betting on sports left and right now. Over 50 million people every week in the US alone are betting on sports. And what's really fascinating is a lot of people see that opportunity and can exploit it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Right? Sports books in particular, right? They put promotions out like intending to help capture people that will make dumb decisions.
Of course.
When I say dumb, I mean like non-informed. I just think anything you do when you're not informed is going to be, if you're less informed than the person on the other side, which in this case would be a sports book, you're at a disadvantage. And getting your guys' advice is, you know, our CEO partners, it's the only real way for somebody to truly gain a little bit of an edge. But it's just freaking amazing to me that you started this out of your dorm room in college by putting out your plays on social media. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, what made you so successful from a business standpoint early on? How did people want to listen to you and start following and engaging with your content? What did you do?
Well, I think that the main thing that this industry, if you want to call it, has taught me is that marketing is everything. It really is. I think that from very early on, even being a profitable bettor, if I'm not taking the right tactics from a marketing standpoint, no one listens to me. So, and you know, that goes for everybody.
Very true.
You know, if you're just showing your winning slips, that only reaches so many people. You're going to have to be able to really continue to push the content, whether that's video content, whether that's just, you know, regular tweets, but really being able to also just build a credibility and trust with the people who are looking to possibly subscribe to your content.
How have you done some of that? So building credibility, building trust is huge. That's part of marketing, generating awareness, getting people to understand why they should listen to the advice that you're giving them. Like, hey, take Curry over 30.5 tonight, you know, matched with LeBron over 18.5 rebounds, assists, whatever it might be. How do you get people to understand, man, Trident DFS is a brand that I'd like to listen to? Before you had ever shown your face, before there was really anything for them to grasp onto with regards to who you were and what you stood for?
Yeah, I think very early on, I took the same approach that many sports bettors do, which is just, you know, looking at the last 5 games or, you know, previous matchups just to try to figure out exactly how that player would perform on any given night. And, you know, I think that trust is something that has to be earned. So things just like, you know, showing your track record of profit and loss with previous plays is obviously a big one. But I think you brought up a good point about how in this past year I've shown my face, which is something that I think was a pretty big step for me, but also one that would really help gain that trust with others. You know, a lot of people want to see where their money's going, essentially. They want to see who's in charge. So I feel like I've done a pretty good job of you know, running streams on a regular basis to kind of have that one-on-one with people in the comments. You know, if anyone has a question, maybe break something down a little bit easier for them.
Stream
to
on
understand.
Twitter?
Yep, Twitter and YouTube, and then also Twitch.
Wow.
So.
Okay. So, and that's been a recent thing for your business. Like this past year, you've shown face, you've done live streams, you're starting to interact more with your audience in a way that's not just text-based, not just, you know, over Twitter posts and comments.
Yeah, something similar to exactly what we're doing here, kind of just peeling the curtains back of the process.
Who are you, right?
Yep, who I am, but also just my process when it goes to putting plays in. That's something that a lot of people don't see when they just, you know, tail the plays in the Discord or through the DubClub app. So being able to run those streams and kind of break down exactly why I'm taking who and for what reasons, that's a pretty big part in you know, building trust.
How do you think your business, let's just say like the last year, how have you become so successful from a content standpoint? Like what have you learned in the last year?
Well, it's definitely the video content is a big thing to you know, make a priority. I think that engaging with your followers or subscribers is a big one, really on any platform, I would say. I think that a lot of times you may look at someone's page, and if they're not interacting with the people, it kind of just feels like the people who do comment or like, it almost just feels like they're just talking to a wall. Yep. So that's been probably the biggest thing, is just being able to build that community almost, even if they're not a part of your Discord or DubClub. Just being able to have that outreach and connect with others. It's been really big.
So if we're going to fast forward a little bit, just as I kind of like move along through the dorm room days, starting the business, you started monetizing at a certain point, right? You got to a point where you realized enough people listen to me to make it worth my time to take their money in exchange for me giving them advice. Can you talk a little about what was the point at which you recognized I should start having people pay me? How big was your page, and what signs were you seeing to give you a good indication that you were ready?
I think this is, you know, me doing my best to try to remember. I believe that my Twitter page had reached 10,000 followers, I want to say, either 5 or 10,000 followers.
Nice.
And at that point, I was seeing good engagement from those people, you know, on my posts and stuff. But yeah, I kind of took it away from, you know, in the Prize Picks Discord, I was having people in there. This was before I was even posting on Twitter that were listening to my picks, tagging me in the Discord saying, you know, what do you have for tonight? Where should I be putting my money, essentially? And that just continued to grow. And, you know, I think that once I reached either 5 or 10,000 followers, it just really felt like an opportunity I was missing out on, because I could see the want and the drive from people who listen to me, you know, trying to figure out, you know, when is he going to post next? When can I get my plays in? And at a certain point, you do realize that like people will pay you money for this. So that was a pretty cool thing once it first happened. Once I ended up, you know, started monetizing my picks, it was like, okay, this could be, you know, this could take off somewhere. And obviously looking back at that, I think it's pretty cool. So
incredible. Yeah. What are you doing now? Full time?
This full time.
So you full time are the CEO of Trident DFS.
That's correct. I get to sit in my apartment or go wherever and post plays, and then make money from y'all's platform, but also from the bets that I put in. Mm-hmm. Honestly, you know, you tell myself this 5 or 10 years ago, I wouldn't believe you, because this is exactly what I would have wanted to be doing. Mm-hmm. You know, I think that especially, you know, connecting this all back to college, I graduated with a degree in communications, and I only chose that because I started off in marketing, switched over because I wasn't a fan of the math that they brought into marketing. And with communications, I feel like I had a pretty broad range to go into. Yeah. And I think a lot of people, even, you know, as a senior in high school, they ask you like, what are you wanting to do with your life? What do you want your career to be? And people get up to even their senior year of college not knowing the answer to that question. Mm-hmm. So I feel extremely blessed to be in this position, because there's really nothing else that I would rather be doing. You know, I get to still watch sports just like I always have and make money doing it. It's just really awesome.
It's funny because I didn't know what I wanted to do until I started DubClub, and now I'm like, this just feels right.
Yeah.
Like there's very few other ways I can think of helping so many people at once.
Yeah.
Helping you guys build awesome businesses, our CEO partners, the ones that are there to inform millions and millions of people. You know, we've got thousands of those CEO partners now, of which you're included, and millions of people who are listening to you guys regularly, getting your advice, making better decisions. So yeah, I totally resonate with that. That's pretty incredible. Just to think about, you're doing this full time. You did not graduate and take a full-time job. Did you do any internships while you were in school, or was this was like your foray into the real world? This was your business school experience, was starting Trident DFS and really getting all that under your belt, all those learnings.
Pretty much. I mean, this all started, I believe, my sophomore year or my freshman year. I'm sorry. And then I think it really took off like end of my sophomore year, going into my junior year. And at that point, you know, the question still lingers, like, you know, what am I going to do after college? You know, is this really going to continue to be profitable? You know, what do my parents think of this? That was another one that was pretty early on. I was like, what am I going to tell my parents?
What do your parents think of this?
You know, I really don't have too many conversations about, you know, the business side of things. I'll talk with my dad every now and then about just sports in general.
Yeah.
They obviously do their best to just check in, make sure everything's okay.
Those conversations with your dad, it's all research for the business, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's super cool. They've been super supportive of it, and really just, you know, letting go of the reins, let me do my own thing. So I try to keep them updated when I can. But yeah, super glad that I didn't have any pushback from them as far as, you know, the career that I chose to pursue.
Well, it's pretty awesome too, because you got engaged recently. So what you've got here is someone who's building their business on DubClub full time. Another one, I've had a lot of folks on this show that I'm 30 and, you know, getting engaged soon, mark my words. But in a situation different than where you guys are at, where it feels like a lot of our CEO partners are very, very secure in where they are in life and have built what they've wanted to build for themselves and have a very clear picture of the future. So you've got, you know, an engagement on your belt, getting married very soon. Sounds like in a couple of months, maybe when this airs, you know, very, very close around that. We'll see how quick the media team can turn this around. I'm sure it'll be done by the end of January. And your parents are satisfied and happy and excited for you. And you're 23. You've got the freaking rest of your life ahead of you building this business. And that's the position you always thought, you know, 5-10 years ago, you're like, I want to be in that spot. But if you told me that it was going to be possible, I don't know if I'd be able to admit it.
Yeah, it's when you put things into perspective, it's very cool to look back at, and
it's my job.
Yeah, very cool though. Like you said, I mean, I never would have imagined I would be in the spot. I couldn't be happier where I'm at. Obviously, a lot of things going on with the wedding coming up, but again, I feel like this type of job, it gives me so much flexibility to manage the tasks that come along with wedding planning and such. So just very fortunate to be in this position.
It's pretty awesome. And I think we've covered that. I think the toils of how you've had to get this business stood up needs to be addressed on this podcast. And I want to talk specifically about what you were doing when you first started monetizing. How did you take payment? How did you fulfill the delivery of content? People pay you to get your information. How were you making all of that happen to get the original sales coming in for your business?
Yeah, so that was something that was a bit of a process for me, just because everything was pretty new at the time. For me, it was something that I never had, you know, approached before. But once I got to the point where I felt like I could monetize, I kind of just did a little bit of small research as far as what platforms I could get on and really try to, you know, make some money from. And just one of the popular ones at the time, Patreon, was the one that I first hopped on. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that was something I was there for about a year while I was still in college, and really just, you know, trying to navigate exactly how their platform worked, as far as, you know, how my self-posting plays, how, you know, the user experience, how they would be able to receive those. Mm-hmm. And that was something I went with for a while. Then I switched over to WAP, which is another platform. That was just a couple months just trying to really figure out something new. I felt like I was a bit unhappy with the situation over at Patreon. So wanted to try something new. And I was with WAP for a couple months. Pretty similar situation, I would say, as far as my happiness with the relationship. And then that's when I got connected with you guys. And the experience that, I've had with you guys has been so vastly different from the other two platforms. The biggest thing that I always stress whenever people ask me about DubClub, how are things? How do you like the platform? The biggest thing is that I don't think anybody else cares about my success more than you guys. I think the one thing is that, especially when I talk about how, important marketing is, right out of the gate, I was able to have marketing tools from you guys, what I should be doing better, things that are going right for me. And that was honestly the biggest game changer as far as, what excelled my growth as a business. And that's something that wasn't only set up at the beginning, but that has continued through these past, however many months that we've, been in that partnership. It's been an awesome experience. I'm able to hop on calls with you guys on a regular basis just to check in, just to see, how the business is going. And like I said, just things that I could be working on. And it's very different from how I believe other companies operate. I think that it's cool that we have this kind of mutual benefit from succeeding. And I think that plays a big part in my growth, but also the company's growth as well.
Yeah, and I think it comes back to our mission. I like to start with why. Start with why you do anything. Why do you wake up in the morning? Why do you talk to a customer the way you do? Why do you approach a situation? For us, why we do what we do is because we want to be the destination where anyone can benefit from sports content. We want to help more people win more together. And I don't want to say our CEO partners are kind of a vessel to make that happen, but you guys are. At the end of the day, right? In order to help more people stop making decisions that are ultimately bad for them and to just frankly have a way better time when betting on sports, that's what we're about. We have to help you guys build your businesses in a way that helps you make more money because we need more people to come through your business.
Right.
Because you have the advice, not us. That's why you're our partners. You're so core to the mission. We literally call you guys our partners. What you are is you're a customer. You pay us a fee. We give you a product for you to facilitate your business. For those of you that are listening that know Shopify, that's kind of what DubClub is essentially for this specific industry. But it's interesting because you're hitting the nail on the head. It's why we do what we do. It's why we provide the tools that we do to help you guys make more money with less effort.
You said a really good point there about this specific industry. I feel like that's where the main thing outside of just the partnership and how you guys interact with your customers essentially is just there's nowhere else that has this type of involvement in the sports betting industry, and that's it.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of places that act as that marketplace for people to discover, sports bettors, but it's also with a lot of other things as well that maybe the customers who are looking for sports bettors don't really want to have to go through all that trouble. So I think that's just another way that you guys stand out as a business.
I agree. But of course I agree because you're preaching to the choir here. And I think it's a very fair point. People come to DubClub because they know that that's a place they can find the best sports content creators. And it's a place for the best sports content creators who want to run businesses, giving people advice, helping more people. It's a way for them to easily inform more people and achieve financial freedom. That's what DubClub is about for you guys. And it's awesome because it's what you've been able to do. You've been able to achieve financial freedom. You're in a point where you aren't stuck to a 9-to-5 job. You aren't stuck to a corporate job. You're not stuck to anything where even if you're making a lot of money, you hate your life. And that means a lot to us. And we really do care because at the end of the day, myself, Lewis, Dash, 3 founders, plus everyone else that works here, all of our employees, call them DubClubbers. We all just care. We're all just good people at the end of the day. And I think that's what matters. We're not in it for, the money or the profits. Our number one priority is our customers, which is you guys. And everything else, I think, will fall in line. So super, super important. It's also something I would give advice to all of our CEO partners, anyone that's listening that ever wants to take a sale from somebody. The reality of the situation, no matter how much, potential money you can raise from people, from investors, that's all obviously really fun and exciting. But the reality is that if you can't have customers paying you and people who actually truly love the service you're providing and the value you provide, then it doesn't matter. Because what are you doing it for? You're not doing it to just get up and create content for nobody. Like, you're doing it because people pay you.
Yeah. I think, driving off of that, I feel like just having that sense of community that you guys have with people like me is the same type that I try to treat the people who are in my Discord. Those kind of, building that relationship. I think that's such a big point, especially when you're, paying somebody for picks. I think it goes beyond that. I think, having that relationship with that person and being able to have that community where you're able to talk with other people about those picks or about the sports that are on that night. I think that's so important and something that I really feel like, specifically with my business, I feel like we've done a really good job of creating that community and just allowing for an environment for people to, talk freely about sports.
Yeah, I agree. I've been in your DubClub a couple times on and off. I can't let myself get too distracted. You've done a really good job curating an awesome community. Can you talk a little bit about some of the things that you've learned or done on DubClub since you launched your business, call it like a year and a half ago, that has helped you be as successful as you are, right? Like, we look at it right behind us again, the $250,000 earnings club. That's no joke. What have you done on DubClub that's helped you be so successful relative to so many other people?
Well, I think that you guys really give the best advice and also the tools necessary for that growth. So I can only do so much as far as like from a social media standpoint and driving people that way. But once people do experience the DubClub and, my Discord and such, you guys are able to, give me the tools so that way I'm able to run promotions, run targeted messaging. And that's all stuff that isn't just available for me, but also through calls, walking down or having a breakdown of how exactly I'm supposed to use those tools and in what ways. And that's just, again, outside of social media, I feel like that's been a huge way for me to not only bring back customers, but also reach out to new ones.
Love it. And that's what it's all about. Again, I think there's like, as I think about your guys' business, there's 6 main components to it. And I think of it as like the hierarchy of needs for you. You said it yourself. It all runs on marketing. That's kind of the foundation. And there's different ways that DubClub is satisfying that marketing for you as your technology partner, your small business. You wake up every morning and the first thing that you think, whether you realize it or not, is where's that next customer coming from?
Yeah.
Right. And we want to make sure we can alleviate some of that from you and all of our CEO partners, where they can wake up and they don't have to think twice. They know, okay, I'm going to get something from the DubClub network. I'm going to get something from the automations I've set up. I'm going to have something sending me business every day. And I can go hunt knowing that I will have at least a solid foundation that I can build off of. And I've seen the numbers for your business. I think it's like, of the 250K club, it's like close to 50 or 60K has come from the DubClub network, if not a little bit more than that. It's pretty awesome. It's a great partnership.
And I love the fact that, that automation is there, because I feel like it only continues to free up more time, and that's what everyone seeks, is having that financial freedom to where they can just do what they want. And that, whether that's just me, getting to sit down to watch a game, or if it's, continuing to act on social media to bring in even more customers. So
100%. So as you reflect on the journey in the last year or two, what advice do you think you'd have for somebody that's on the fence of starting a business online, whether they're in college or whether they're post-college at a job that they don't really love? What advice would you have for somebody that's thinking about, should I start this business online or should I not? What thoughts do you have?
I hate to just go back to the point that we've already talked, but marketing really is everything. I mean, there are so many pages that I've seen, that I've come across on Twitter or on Instagram, of solid sports bettors that are doing everything they should except for marketing. And that is just such a big key point that, going into, if you're starting a business, understanding that saves you so much time, because if you make that your main focus, outside of obviously, connecting with customers and that sort of thing, just understanding that marketing needs to be your main focus, especially when starting out. It saves you so much time. And it also gets a lot of people in the door, helping to kind of kickstart the business.
So let's talk about how you would market yourself. Tell me a little bit about how you would pitch your DubClub. What's the value proposition for the consumer? What are your top sports? Why would I listen to you? Give me everything that would be helpful for me to know about your DubClub.
So this is going to take a little bit of time to explain. But as
First rule of marketing, keep it simple, stupid.
I'll try.
Steve Jobs is like his whole thing with Apple.
Yeah. I will say when I started out, I was kind of just the average sports bettor that would kind of just go off of my gut, just kind of just look at the last 5 games like everyone does on Prize Picks now.
Yeah, look at the trends.
Yep, the trends. Yeah, and just kind of draw my conclusions and where I should be putting my money based off of that. And then as I started to, just prior to monetizing, when I started making profitable bets, that was when I actually took a step back, kind of looked at things from a numerical standpoint and figured out that instead of just betting with, where my confidence was or where, my gut's telling me to bet, to look at it from, look at it as a numbers game. And really, that was when I discovered positive EV betting, which for those of you who aren't familiar with that is positive expected value, essentially betting where the value is, regardless of how you view a bet emotionally. Don't have somebody tell you, oh, don't take, LeBron under points because you're a fan of him or whatever, something along those lines, and really just betting it as a numbers game. And from there, I began to see, kind of the success stories from people that would then follow those bets, saying like, oh my gosh, I'm actually profiting, and I think especially now, I'm able to make my bets and just go on with my day, knowing that in the long run, those bets are going to be profitable because I'm betting the right way. Instead of, how I used to bet where it was just, oh yeah, I think this is going to happen. Let me just sit down and watch my bet because I'm so, nervous of the outcome. And I think that's honestly one of the hardest things is getting people to understand that sports betting, if you want it to be profitable, can be a process. It's not something that you're going to just get rich overnight.
I think anything can be a process. Anything you can put a system around anything and make it more scalable, more easy, more fun, frankly, because it frees you up to do other stuff.
Yeah. I think a lot of people
That's why people pay you, right?
Exactly.
It's you're doing the process. They just need to listen.
Right. And I think that over time, especially with those like live streams and kind of just being able to have that more of a one-on-one conversation definitely allows for people to understand that concept a little bit more.
Yeah.
But what I tell people is that especially when you're like paying for picks, at least in my case, like you don't even have to know about the sport. Like as long as you understand that, as long as you trust me that I know the numbers behind it, you'll be a profitable bettor.
Yeah, I remember betting on Russian table tennis back in the day.
Yep.
Made a good amount of money. So when we started the company, Dash was like finding anything he could to bet on. One of our co-founders, Dash.
Yeah.
And these guys were giving out plays on Russian table tennis and KHL. It was like, like unbelievable random leagues. I don't even know how, like KHL, I don't even know if the rules are the same as the NHL, but they were things to bet on and they were really good at it.
For me, for those of you watching that have been in the DubClub before, Korean baseball was my go-to.
Yeah, KBO, huh?
Yep, KBO. And I mean, for me over on the East Coast, I mean, probably same with the West Coast as well, but that's like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it's you got to get that in at night and wake up and you're really hoping it shows up in your bank account.
Or you stay up all night and watch it, as I did numerous times, which is always
dedication.
fun.
Dedication to the product research.
That, and then it's so cool seeing that, the community that I've built. I have people up at 5 a.m. watching it with me and sweating it in the Discord. Like I think that was honestly one of the coolest points of being able to like, no one's going to just be up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Like they're waking up to watch the bet with me.
Together. It's like something to, it feels like you can make plans with friends to go out and grab a lunch, or the plans are, hey, I'm going to get online and I'm going to watch this KBO game at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be in the chat and we're going to be chalking it up together.
It was such a cool experience. Obviously now we're not in baseball season, but definitely going to be back with the KBO. And I mean, that's just so cool. That kind of just speaks to the community vibe, just being able to have those kind of conversations, win bets together. I think that's just, it's winning together is honestly the biggest thing.
Winning more together.
Yeah. I think that just being a profitable bettor, and this is, I think all goes into how I started monetizing as well, is like once you start realizing that you're a profitable bettor, you only want to help others.
Yeah.
And I think that luckily I've been able to monetize this to where I'm also making money, but even just sharing advice and being able to help others make those smarter choices, I think is just so important. It's something that I, really appreciate. I think that honestly, one of the brightest kind of days that I get is when I see a new success story pop up, in the Discord of how someone was able to, buy their mom a gift for Christmas based off of, the money that they won from the bets, or if they were able to go to a, NFL game or whatever. But I think those are the coolest things, is being able to see. We had somebody actually last year bought a truck with the winnings from the bets.
Awesome.
I mean, it's just the coolest thing, because
what other subscription can somebody spend money on that results in them making enough money to buy a truck?
That's what I'm saying.
That's incredible.
It was such a cool thing to see. Kind of just made me take a step back and like, wow, like that's because somebody trusted me to make bets that would then result in them winning money.
Yeah.
It's so cool,
Not just trusted, paid you.
Yeah.
It's not easy to convince someone to pay you, and then it's not easy to deliver on that value. And you guys do that time and time again.
I think that one of the biggest things that I stress to people who, may be on the fence about joining my DubClub specifically.
Yeah.
To me, it's never been about, a purchase. It's more of an investment, because I can confidently say that the ROI that we get is higher than most investments that people do in like stocks. So being that confident in my own picks, and I'm able to track everything on a daily basis and show that profit loss at the end of the year. We just finished up 2024 with over 624 units in profit. So
yeah, put that in math terms. So if I put in $10, I have a $100 bankroll to start with. What's that going to result?
Ooh,
I think it's 6,240.
About like, so for somebody who's like $100 bettor, who would put, $100 on a 1 unit bet, that's over $62,000.
Yeah.
So like, that's almost like the average salary.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right. So yeah, I'd say like $1, $10 per bet. So 6,240.
Yeah.
If I had $100 to start with and I did $10 per play, which would be 10% of my bankroll, which would be a lot, so I wouldn't recommend that. I would have made 6,240.
But again, when you put that into perspective, as far as like how much the DubClub costs to join, it's like it's really an investment.
What is let's do that math. So it costs what? How much does it cost to join your DubClub?
For our elite tier to get access to everything, it's $40 a month.
$40 a month, and if I had paid that $40 a month and I started with $1,000 to bet on sports, I would end up with how much money after 2024?
Was that like 6,000? Or is my math wrong? Yeah.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
So start with 1,000. You're betting about $10 a play.
Yeah.
You end up with $6,000. So you just made a net gain of $5,000 on an initial investment of 40, and that's 40 per month, right? So 40 times 12, so call it $500,
right,
over the course of the year. But that's why the value of, if you're a consumer, subscribe to somebody like you, one of our CEO partners, it's super, super valuable for them to buy the year-long packages you guys sell, because then they're not paying $40 a month to get that return on investment of $5,000 in net gain. They're paying, call it, I'm sure you're selling for probably $250 sometimes on a yearly basis. So that's you're dropping half to be in there for the full year to make a net gain of $5,000 in profit minus $250. That's $4,000 plus that people are making from their subscription. There is literally no other subscription on earth that someone can make that much money from, or even have the opportunity to, and have a freaking awesome time doing it, because there's nothing like more fun in terms of consuming content than watching and betting on sports.
Exactly. I really don't think there's much better than that, but
especially if you're a sports fan, which 1 in 2 people in the world are.
Right. I would assume most people who are betting are probably sports fans. And even if they're not, like back to what I was saying, like you don't really have to know.
You don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to be.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Not guaranteed. So, okay. All right. So if we talk about that in terms of 2024, 640 units, you said?
24.
624. Still incredible.
Yeah.
We were talking about, a little bit with regards to marketing, a little bit with regards to the value that some of the subscribers in your DubClub have gotten. As you look to 2025, what kind of goals have you set for yourself, for your business, for your community?
Well, one of the goals actually was to get our new Discord bot that we actually, it was a goal for 2025, but we actually were able to roll it out on January 1st.
Jeez. All right.
Yeah. So I guess check that off of the list, but
pretty incredible. I need to start setting my New Year's resolutions with you because I'll achieve it in the first week.
Yeah. But speaking of the bot, I just feel like the value that comes along with that $40 a month or whatever you end up choosing as a subscription, there's so much value in the Discord. Obviously you have one, being able to have a good time as far as talking with other people, obviously access to the plays from myself and a couple of other cappers that we have in there. But now this new Discord bot that we just launched essentially does the same as some of the other tools on the market. But instead of having to load up a browser to, check out plays, it's all within the same Discord server, all included in the subscription. So super cool to have everything in one place. And it essentially does the same thing that I do. But when I'm not around to make those plays, this bot runs 24/7, getting the best positive EV plays from Prize Picks, Underdog, DraftKings, FanDuel, a couple other sports books as well.
That's sweet.
It's so awesome. And, we spent a long time getting it set up. And now that it's finally up and running, it's really cool seeing the user experience and how they're enjoying it. So we're trying to work on getting things, tracked. But with so much volume coming out from the bot, it's going to have to be automated. So
totally.
That's something that that'll be the goal for 2025 is hopefully getting that all set up within the next couple months or so.
Love it. And set up including the relative performance of how that bot is doing in terms of providing valuable information.
Of course. I want people to be able to see the breakdown as far as by sports book, profit and loss. But yeah, super stoked about that. And hopefully the tracking will be up pretty soon.
That's an area also that we can help and we should be able to help, which I'm excited about. You talked about a few of the case studies. Someone bought a car. Someone bought a Christmas gift for their mom. So heartfelt. And hopefully like that, similar to how it makes you feel really special for what you're doing for people. Is there anything that stands out, or the ones that you mentioned, are those the ones that really stand out to you as hey, this is really the value that's coming about?
The truck was, I don't really know how you could top that as far as monetary value.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
There's been a lot of people that have, it's honestly just changing their perspective of investing or money. Being able to take somebody who is, I have plenty of people that I've looked at over the last couple of years that have been in that same position as I was, a college student, broke, don't really have a lot of money, but want to bet on sports. They have that urge,
Yeah.
And being able to guide them in a positive way to be able to, profit off of that is something that I think is so cool. And I almost hold it a little bit higher than just like, winning or buying a truck with the money, just because I picture myself in those shoes. And just trying to connect again with those people, being like, hey, I was in your position once.
Yep.
Not necessarily trying to guide them to start their own business, but like in the moment, just being like, as a sports bettor, this is how you should be betting to be profitable. I think that's one of the coolest things, if not the coolest, that I've experienced.
Do you think there's still a big opportunity for people that are quite good at betting on sports to build a business online? Oh,
of course. I think that, when you look at sports betting as a whole, it's only continuing to get bigger. I think that, I think over time, only more and more states are probably going to legalize it. It's already so big now, I think it's definitely a business in which is saturated to an extent. There's a lot of people that want to do it.
Yep.
But going back to what I said about the marketing, it's like you have to find your niche and your way to stand out amongst everybody. But yeah, as far as starting a business with that, it's definitely still definitely popping.
Good.
Yeah.
Because I agree. But I think this gets into marketing again with regards to where you focused your time. Is most of your business centered around X, Twitter?
Yeah, that's the platform that I saw the most growth with right off the bat.
Why do you think that was?
I think there's more of a feel to really connect with people. I think that, especially with like Instagram, it's just like post a photo, get a couple likes and a comment or whatever. But then Twitter is just so it's easy to connect with others. It's easy to discover new people. I don't know. I think partially for me it was just a better liking to like their user experience. Like for myself, being able to grow that way. I know there's plenty of platforms that are still great ways to grow. If you're somebody who wants to focus more on video content, take the route of TikTok or YouTube, which are ones that I'm trying to get involved with. You know, trying to get some short form content, and then obviously the streams that I do. But yeah, Twitter was the best for me. I think that as of right now, it probably has the best community for sports betting. I'm really excited to see if Threads kind of pulls into that as well.
Have you tinkered at all with Threads? Yep. Have you seen anything growth-wise there?
I'm posting on a daily basis over there, kind of just...
Similar format to what you're putting on Twitter?
Yeah, and that's pretty much all it is it's Instagram's version, I like to call it, of totally. Twitter.
Yeah, it really is. It's
but
cool.
I think that on those platforms, it may just be the case of, you know, having that luck that one of those, you know, thread posts are going to end up popping off. Like that's the biggest thing for Twitter as well. It's like, I don't know how the algorithm works essentially, but once you get people who engage with your posts and you start to get those likes and then those retweets and it reaches more and more people, you know, that one just regular post ends up skyrocketing in views, and that's how people discover you.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that's something that you can't necessarily plan on other than being consistent.
Exactly.
And that's, you know, that's a point. I think it's Mr. Beast says this, like if you post once a day for 365 days, it'll change your life. It's true. You just have to try stuff. You got to iterate. You got to put stuff out there. You got to put things on Threads, see what happens. Obviously, you've kind of found a seam on Twitter, but that's advice that I would have personally as someone that observes this industry from afar, and myself trying to create content alongside you guys, right? Like putting you front and center, but also trying things to see what resonate and help more people recognize the value DubClub can provide to their life. You got to just try stuff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun. It's entrepreneurial. That's why it's so interesting.
For sure. And I think especially like TikTok, you know, I have yet to have my luck as far as, you know, views on a post, but like it's as easy as having a video end up on someone's For You page. Yep. And then, you know, 10 people, 100 people, and then
we just had a video the other day that got like 75,000 views. We have like the CEO Corner podcast has like 500 followers now on TikTok. It's growing well. It's all organic, but we get like 1,000 views a post, and we have a couple that just skyrocket. Right? I think we had one that had like 300, 400,000 views. Like,
and you'll never know. You'll never know which one it is. And that's the weirdest part is you can think that you have the best video out there, you post it, and then it just performs like all the rest.
Yep.
And then the one video that you may not think is that good ends up being the one that gets you those 100,000 views or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, it is. It's a content quality and velocity game.
Yeah.
You have to make sure the quality is good, but you also have to make sure that the velocity is high. You're posting regularly, but you know, I think these platforms reward the presentation of the content. I've noticed, like if the audio quality is not good, the video quality is not good, and this is stuff you and I were talking about before we hopped on.
Yep.
You're getting your podcast studio set up, but it's advice that sort of like, as I figure out with this podcast and with another podcast I'm doing with my co-founders, the quality of the content is a very big leading indicator for the potential for something to start to go viral. If people can't hear what you're saying, or it's like muddy audio, it's just not going to be picked up as well from the algorithms on social media. And that's just the reality of it.
Yep.
And not everybody can start putting out high quality content, but you can purchase a $50 microphone you plug into your computer and make it super simple to start saying stuff and filming yourself and putting yourself out there in front of a camera.
I think the biggest thing, especially starting out, and it may be difficult to adjust to, but the biggest investment you can make is your time. That's really
100%.
I mean, when you're starting out, especially, and you really want to just see that growth, you know, because I think a lot of people, it's frustrating. It's very discouraging when you don't see that growth right away. But just being committed to giving your time, you know, if you are so passionate about starting your own business and you are fully into it, your time has to be there. You can't just make a couple posts a week and expect for things to grow, because yes, there's luck involved, but like you said, consistency, you know, it all ties together.
Yeah, it does. All right, Grayson, I got a quick question about your biggest wins and worst beats before I let you get off the podcast. I've got two last questions. This is one of them. Let's start on the betting front, because you're obviously quite good at what you do, but sometimes there's pain. Sometimes there's overwhelming joy. Let's talk about best wins, worst beats.
You know, I don't know if I can think of necessarily a worst beat, just because there's so many. I think when you are a sports bettor and you've done it for a long time, you realize that bad beats happen all the time.
Yeah.
They suck at the beginning. They still suck now, but it becomes easier to cope with, because once you're profitable, you know, you understand that, yes, when you're sitting up at 3 a.m., you know, watching whatever it may be on your last leg on a parlay and it doesn't come through, it's very depressing. It sucks, but having that mentality to just move on to the next one is so important. I can't imagine, you know, how many parlays that I've had that I've lost by one or just even just like a hook. Gosh, I know that the Pickett app actually does their year in review off of your bets, and I mean the numbers of how many that it just tells you would have won if that last leg had hit. I mean, it's so painful, because not only do they show you how many bets lost, they show you here's the monetary value if those would have hit, if all of them would have hit. And I mean, the numbers, I think this past year was like almost $500,000 off of if those, you know, parlays that lost by one leg would have hit.
That's why the sports books make all their money.
Yeah. But I mean, bad beats are so tough. They definitely become easier to
stomach over time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what about best wins?
Well, I've got a couple. I know back in baseball season, I'm going to shout out Chili Bets here.
Nice.
His negative correlation. Oh my
Everyone
gosh.
always talks about it. Yeah.
I had to try it out.
Chili's awesome.
I didn't have much luck the first couple days. And then I ended up hitting like 3 different bets that were $100 to win $8,000.
$100 to win 8,000.
80x?
Yes.
Yeah. So I had a couple of those off of the negative correlation. So that was pretty big. That was super stoked for.
Jeez Louise.
One of the maybe smaller monetary but higher in multiplier. This is actually just recently, within the last month or so. Not to get too off topic here, but my best friend and I, soccer fans, we have 2 separate teams in the Premier League that we support. He's a Liverpool fan. I'm a Chelsea fan.
Nice.
We decided, so we're looking at schedules and stuff. Pretty much like the last week or 2 of the season for the Premier League, they face each other. Chelsea's the home team. It's on May 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought to ourselves, you know, he's a betting guy as well. And he said, we kind of talked and figured out, you know, why not try to hit a parlay that would pay for our trip? You know, I'm like, okay, you know, it's a fun task to try and accomplish, but this is us turning $5 every single day into potentially $2,000. So that, gosh, I can't think of math. What is that? A 400x?
$5 into $2,000 would be 5.
I think so.
But just get on my calculator because my brain is.
I think it's
what's
2,000 divided by 5.
Yeah, let's do this.
It's not that. It's not
2,000 divided by 5. 400.
So 400x, right? An impossible task. This was like a
gnarly
10-leg parlay or something off of $5. So, anyways, we start this challenge. First day, I think we went like 6 for 10, 7 for 10. Pretty bummed out, but again, it's a goal, but it's not really too realistic.
Yeah.
The second day happens, and we are sitting there, Monday Night Football, sweating out Zach Charbonnet under receiving yards to go to London to watch our 2 teams play, and it happens. On day 2, I mean, you can't make it up. Like, it was absolutely insane. I posted the slip to Twitter, not beforehand, obviously, or else that probably went crazy. But it was more of just a personal, you know, parlay, hopefully, you know, going to hit. And yeah, for it to happen on day 2 was pretty crazy. So that would be most likely my biggest win as far as the multiplier.
That's incredible. You said 40 to win $5,000?
$5 to win $2,000.
$5 to win $2,000. Jeez.
Yes.
Yeah, my math was way off. $5 to win $2,000.
Yeah.
Good gosh, dude. That's like, oh my gosh.
it was kind of hard to fathom at the time.
And as you say, like that probability of someone that doesn't know what they're doing, there's no way like that. That's like one out of however many hundreds of thousands of people that are trying to bet on that are going to actually hit that. But when you have something behind it where you feel like there's, again, process.
Yeah.
You know,
process is
something
everything
that goes into it.
It really is.
And you can trust it more. Like, you know that, okay, I put out something into this world where the input of my process and the research that I've done and the approach that I've taken is maximizing the probability this can happen in my favor. That's just how it works.
Yeah. And I think over time I've been able to use parlays like that and winners to kind of build that credibility behind my business.
Yeah, I was going to ask how you utilize that $5,000 to $2,000 ticket in marketing. You threw that on Twitter?
Yeah, well, I threw it on Twitter. That wasn't something that was sent out to everybody because, like I said, the chances of that hitting were very slim.
Yeah,
especially
so you
on
weren't
day
like,
2.
hey, I recommend this. Why not put that out to your DubClub and say, hey, look, you know, like put down $1 on this, right? Because it's $1 to win. What is that? 400?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, in hindsight, yes, that would have been the smart thing to do. But also,
I mean, you know,
sending out 10,
hindsight's 2020.
Sending out 10 leg parlays on a daily basis probably isn't the smartest choice, especially if it, you know, went the full 2 or 3 months of us trying this on a daily basis and nothing hit. So it was very.
That wouldn't have been a good look. People be asking questions.
Right. There was a process behind the parlay, but at the end of the day, it was very lucky for it to hit. So
it's incredible.
But yeah, the very next day we booked our flights and got the tickets for the game. So
who ended up winning that game?
Well, no, it's happening in May. This is like the slip that just hit was like last month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't realize this was so recent.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to talk about it because it wasn't.
You guys are going to have to bet on that, right? Like,
oh, for sure. But we're going to have to probably bet here before we leave. I don't know what London's gambling
that's going to be
are.
super, super fun.
Yeah.
Chelsea, you said Chelsea, Liverpool?
Chelsea,
so
Liverpool.
You're Chelsea, he's Liverpool?
Yep. And what's, you know, Chelsea, they drew today's game and so did Liverpool. But they're both like right there at the top of the table as far as Premier League table. So right there at the end of the season, it could be a pretty big match as far as who wins in the points. So
that's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
Have you seen Ted Lasso?
No, I keep getting told that I should watch it.
I mean, if you love soccer, especially Premier League soccer, got to watch that. Have you seen the Beckham documentary?
No.
Okay, you got to watch that
I'm
too.
not. If we talk more, you'll find out that I literally don't watch shows or movies. It's always sports. It really is. I think that.
Well, both of those are sports shows.
Related,
sports movies, except they're not. Beckham is interesting because there's history to it. Ted Lasso is just entertaining. Yeah. It's like really feel good, and it's actually set with like real names of teams.
Right.
Like Man City, Manchester United, Chelsea, Liverpool. They're all in the show. AFC Richmond, which I don't know, I think is a club. I'm not entirely sure.
I think that's theirs. That's like the made up one.
Yeah, but I don't know. I actually haven't looked it up if that's even a club. I'm not a huge soccer fan. Well, gotcha. I like watching soccer. I've always wanted to go to Europe and watch a game in person. Yeah, but I don't keep up with it, so I wouldn't know.
I think I'm so excited for it that like I obviously want Chelsea to win, but even if they don't, the atmosphere there will be so cool.
Is this the first time you're ever going to a European soccer game?
Yep.
That's going to be really cool. You're going to have to like broadcast that all over your social media.
I'll have to, yeah, for sure. That'll be pretty cool.
Bring the community along with you.
Exactly. That's what's also cool about this is like, you know, even just outside of live streaming, if I want to just go in the Discord and just, you know, open up the little like town hall that we have and just go live, I can just talk with people like voice chat or video chat.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's nice being able to, you know, connect to people. It doesn't feel like such a transactional thing, just like talking to a wall, you know?
Totally. I'm going to wrap up the podcast with one final question, and that is, what advice would you have for somebody that is interested in sports and would like to bet on sports and already does? How would you advise them on how to do so in a disciplined way and effectively make more money with the same amount, if not more entertainment?
It's a good question. I think my stats here could be totally wrong. I want to say it's above 95% of sports bettors are not profitable.
Yeah, I think it's around 97, 98%.
Yeah. I was luckily this was before I stepped away from it to really just focus on my own business. But at one point I was one of the moderators in the Prize Picks Discord and could kind of see a little bit behind the curtain there.
That's wild.
And actually was able to see like the percentage of people who got like their 1099 forms, to pay taxes on winnings.
Yep.
And it was such a small amount. It just puts into perspective how many people, one, sports bet out there that are not profitable, but also two, how many people who probably say that they're a profitable sports bettor and aren't.
That is insane. Wait, so just to recap that, you were a moderator in the Prize Picks Discord server. So you were able to see information behind the curtain that showed the people in the server who were issued a 1099 form, which is only issued if somebody profits from their sports bets.
Yeah.
And the amount of people who were actually issued 1099s, meaning the amount of people that were profitable, was very, very, very
It was
little.
like 2 or 3%.
Exactly. 98% of people lose.
Yeah.
98% of people. And that's not, again, I don't want to insult people.
No.
Like, go out and bet on sports, but like we are sitting here telling everyone, we have an operating system for people like you who want to be the CEO of their own business and achieve financial freedom by informing more people with less effort. And on the other side, all these consumers can get access to the best quality information and proper guidance to make better decisions.
Yeah, and back to what you were saying as far as my advice to those people, this isn't supposed to be just a plug for myself, but I think that one of the things we do within my Dub Club is not only provide winning picks, but show you how it's done.
Yeah.
So that way, when you feel confident enough to step out on your own and maybe make those decisions yourself, you can completely do that. And I'm somebody who cares more about, your future as a sports bettor and making money rather than just, you being a quick, dollar or two for me. So I think the education behind it is a huge thing. So for everyone out there who is a sports bettor or maybe looking to sports bet, take some time, research what positive EV betting is, really get a grasp on that, and stop betting with your gut. Stop betting where you feel you have a certain, confidence toward a specific bet. Play it as if you were playing a numbers game. Look at sports betting as the best, stock you can ever be invested in, because at the end of the day, you're putting your money somewhere and then you're able to just watch sports really and just, see how things go. But when you are able to look at it from a numbers standpoint, your bets begin to just become a process where that no matter what, when I look at this, in a 3-month span or 6-month or a year or even beyond that, you're going to have this trend of just going up. And you're going to have cold streaks. Everyone does. Everyone has cold streaks, but everyone has hot streaks as well. And I think that's the biggest thing that I would take away from that is, especially starting out, if I could have redone anything when I was starting my own business, is just making sure that I had that mindset instead of, sweating the losses, and just being like completely distraught about how a cold streak is going. Just staying positive, having that positive mindset, understanding that it is a process and you can trust that. And again, just don't let your emotions influence your bets. That's like the biggest thing. If you want it to truly be an investment, if you truly want to make money over time and you don't want to just try to hit a 12-leg parlay overnight and just get rich, you got to trust the process.
Fantastic advice. Grayson, it's been a pleasure having you on the CEO Corner podcast. You guys have seen it here. You've heard from Grayson, the CEO of Trident DFS, from his dorm room in 2020, 2021, throughout the next couple of years, to trying out a couple of different payment processing services that didn't really give him that feel of partnership after he had built an amazing sense of credibility on his social media profiles with people listening to what he has to say regarding his sports betting advice, to finding DubClub, eventually launching his business on DubClub in early 2023, as I look back on it now.
Yep.
And we're coming up on 2 years, already a member of the 250K earnings clubs, made over $250,000 on DubClub. And it's really exciting for us to continue to partner with you, Grayson. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for coming out here to nice sunny California. We're going to go grab a beer, grab a bite to eat, show you around. The Giant Stadium's right near us, Oracle Park. Chase Center's not too far away. It's about a 20-minute walk from there. So a lot of fun stuff for you to see in San Francisco. But it's been a blast having you on the podcast. Learned so much. Hopefully everyone else resonates with that as well. I know they will. Thank you again for the time.
I appreciate you for having me. It's been very nice being out here in California. When I left Jacksonville, it was all cold and rainy. So
really,
yeah, the weather's nice here. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for having me out, and then this was a blast.
Of course. Talk to you all soon.